Hello and welcome. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. You are watching a special broadcast here on DD India, and with me is a very special guest, Dr. Mohammad Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Now, my guest needs no introduction, but just for the benefit of viewers joining us from around the world, Dr. Ali assumed office in August 2020. He was elected as a lawmaker in 2006. He is a former Minister of Housing and Water and Tourism Industry and Commerce. Dr. Ali was born into an Indo-Guyanese family. The Indo-Guyanese are the descendants of Indians. They are the largest ethnic group in this country of 800,000 people. Now, he is one of two sons of his parents who are both teachers, and he has a doctorate in urban and regional planning. And on his social media account on X, he describes himself as a proud husband of Arya Ali and a grateful father to Zayed and baby Ilan. We'll talk about all that and much more in just a bit. But first, a quick word about Guyana. The name Guyana means land of many waters in a language spoken by the indigenous peoples of Guyana. It is located on the northeastern coast of the continent of South America, overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. Guyana gained independence from the UK in 1966. It's the only English-speaking country in the whole of South America. It's a parliamentary republic whose president is the head of state and head of government. It's one of the fastest growing economies in the world today. The discovery oil in 2015 has given a big boost to Guyana's economy. Some are already calling it the new Qatar or South America's Qatar. Mr. President, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you, especially at the time when we host your Prime Minister, Prime Minister Modi, who has been providing us exceptional leadership, not only in India, but globally. So it's a very good time to be here with you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, as you mentioned, India's Prime Minister is visiting Guyana. It's the first visit to Guyana, an Indian premier, in 56 years. How would you describe the ties today?
Well, first of all, let me say that Guyana and India enjoys tremendous bilateral relationship. Our relationship is expanding by the year and expanding rapidly. We have many of India's contractors operating in Guyana. We have many of our major infrastructure projects that are financed by India. We have strong trade relations and partnership with India. We have expanded the relationship over the years to include military cooperation. We have recently procured 2 aircraft from India. We are procuring a whole line of hardware to our military cooperation. We are also we have a strong human capital partnership where we have a lot of Guyanese who are studied or are studying or are in training in India. I myself would have been a beneficiary of one of the ITech scholarship in India. So our partnership is also extended to agriculture, technology. We're now working on including energy, food security. So we have a very strong, diversified portfolio in terms of our bilateral relationship. But much more than Guyana and India bilateral relationship, Prime Minister Modi also will be meeting with CARICOM, all the heads of CARICOM in the India-CARICOM Summit. Now, as you know, India was one of the first country who would have donated vaccines to the region during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the region was very grateful, continues to be very grateful. Many of the countries in the region has very strong economic and bilateral relationship with India. Of course, we have strong political cooperation with India, strong relationship and agreements also in pharmaceuticals and the health industry. So there's a lot of ongoing work, a lot of ongoing bilateral relationship and regional relationship.
Mr. President, Guyana is home to a large Indian diaspora. The first Indian arrival, as it's called, was recorded on 5th May 1838. Tell us more about the community. How have the Indo-Guyanese contributed to the life and society of Guyana while preserving their culture, customs, tradition, and language?
Well, as you know, we have a country that is made up of 6 different ethnic groups. We are very culturally diverse. We are a very culturally diverse country. We have the indigenous people, the Amerindians, who were the first people. We have the Afro-Guyanese, we have Indo-Guyanese, we have the Europeans, Chinese, and of course the Portuguese. And as you said, Indo-Guyanese make up the largest segment of the diverse population. So over the years, the Indo-Guyanese population would have made significant input into the development of our country, not only coming here as indentured laborers, but also becoming playing an important role in the business sector, in education, in healthcare, in technology. So the Indo-Guyanese really would have played a very important role in the advancement and development of Guyana, in entrepreneurship, and also in building the economy of our country.
Now, India celebrates its diaspora by hosting what is known as the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which is Hindi for Overseas Indian Day. Now, you visited India in 2023 for the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and you were honored with the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award. Tell us more about your visit. Was it your maiden visit to India, and where in India do you trace your ancestry to?
Yeah, well, my ancestry is traced to the UP area. I had, when I was there in India, I could have compared, because I visited India a number of times over the last 24, 25 years. So I was there as a member of parliament, I was there as president, I was there as a minister, and I was there as a student. So I can tell you about a tremendous transformation that I have witnessed in India itself. The modernization of the country, the push towards innovation and technology, the rapid build out of SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, and the leading role India is playing globally. Global leadership does not happen by accident. Global leadership occurs when you have strong local leadership in the country itself. And Prime Minister Modi has demonstrated a strength of leadership that has really positioned India globally and has opened up many opportunities for India and a greater level of regard for India. So what I've seen in India is a country that is accelerating at a rapid pace into a future that is going to be comparable to the developed world. The investment in human capital, healthcare, infrastructure, technology, the building out of the infrastructure, the cleaning up of the environment, all of this, I think, is accelerating India's position globally. And with a very youthful population that you have, and the entrepreneurial spirit of the population, and an investment in science, innovation, and research, I think there is tremendous opportunity. During my last visit, I had the opportunity to visit a number of the research centers. I had the opportunity of visiting a number of the pharmaceutical centers, centers that are dedicated to food production, agro-processing. So I think that the trajectory that India is on is also pointing to a well-diversified economy that is standing in many pillars and can withstand global shocks.
And talking about bilateral ties, Mr. President, is there scope for doing more in terms of, say, for instance, trade and investment, or even people-to-people ties?
Oh yes, so there is tremendous opportunity of doing more because of where Guyana is located. Guyana is located in South America, but is very much part of CARICOM. The CARICOM headquarters is in Guyana. So although we are South America, we have a very strong Caribbean culture, and we are part of CARICOM. Now this allows access to the Caribbean and Latin America market with preferential trade arrangement. It allows access to the Brazilian market in less than 24 hours. So there's immense opportunity for the manufacturing, industrial, and agro-processing hub of India to locate a strong presence here and get preferential access to all of these markets, whilst at the same time benefiting from low energy costs, because next year we're going to cut the energy costs by half so that our country will be very competitive when it comes to agro-processing, manufacturing, industrial development, and of course the opportunities that come with assembly line for EVs. So what I see is Guyana as an important springboard for the industrial manufacturing hub of India to secure a presence. And outside of that, we are also investing heavily in digitization
Right.
and technology, innovation, where India is also very good. So I believe that looking at the population, as you said earlier, one may say it's a small market. But when you look at what the population, what access the population gives you to the other markets, it's a market of over close to 600 million people. Now that tells you about the potential when you're going to
Right.
produce to service a market of over 600 million people.
Mr. President, do you think Guyana will benefit from India's democratic credentials, especially when it comes to holding of elections, for instance, or using technology such as electronic voting machines or biometric identity cards, for instance?
So we're working now on our digitization process, which include the digitization of our healthcare records, the digitization of our ID card, digitization of our passports, the digitization of our education system. For a matter of fact, within the coming weeks, we will launch our Forest Guyana Digital School, which is built off of an Indian platform. We have thousands of students studying online at various Indian universities. So what I would say is that a lot of the technological advancement in improving governance efficiency, improving access to service, expanding access to service that you have mastered, of course, we want to learn and to adopt those technologies here.
And also, do you see India buying more and more oil and gas from Guyana in the future?
So that is something that is up for discussion. India is very committed to and interested in buying. Right now, we have a public process through which the marketing of oil is done, and that is it's advertised publicly, and the bids come in. But I know that that this is something that is on the agenda for bilateral discussion.
How do you see cooperation shaping up in the area of renewable energy, for instance? Guyana is a member of the International Solar Alliance and the Global Biofuels Alliance as well.
Yes. So we see our energy portfolio as one that will influence and impact the entire region. So we want to position Guyana to be a global leader on environment and climate, because as you know, we have a forest the size of England and Scotland combined, with the lowest deforestation rate in the world that stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon. The entire forest is certified for the highest market, called Coursera market. We're the only country that has standing carbon credit markets and sale. 15% of all of the revenue earned from the carbon credit sale goes directly to indigenous community. The second plank is that we want to be a leader in the region in terms of food, because we have large expanse of arable land, and also we have a large expanse of fresh water. So we see ourselves as playing an important role in producing the food for the region. And then third, the energy. We see ourselves as a global leader in energy, because not only is there hydrocarbon and the possibility that comes with gas, but also we have hydroelectricity. We are investing heavily in solar. That is why we have this agreement with the Solar Alliance. Many of our solar program, our solar household program, Hinterland Solar program, is in conjunction with Indian companies and Indian technology. So we are looking to have more of our power locally generated from renewable source, and of course India will play a big part in this.
Indeed. You also touched upon defense in your opening remarks, Mr. President. How would you describe the defense and security ties with India? As you mentioned, India delivered 2 Dornier aircraft to Guyana, and your military chief visited India recently as well.
Yeah, so I would describe it very simple. Growing, strengthening, and also becoming a pact.
Mr. President, Guyana is currently a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. Are you in favor of UN reform in general and UNSC in particular?
Of course, we have. I said this in my UN address, that We believe that the time has come for reform in the United Nations Security Council, and that those reforms must be expeditiously advanced and must be fair and equitable.
Right. Climate change is a clear and present danger. No country is immune from the impacts of climate change. What can Guyana do on its own or together with India to arrest and reverse climate change, Mr. President?
Well, we are already doing a lot for the world. We are safeguarding a forest the size of England and Scotland combined that stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon. We have the lowest deforestation rate in the world. We are launching next year the Global Biodiversity Alliance, and we want India to partner with us on the Global Biodiversity Alliance. The world has lost 60% of its biodiversity. We have kept our biodiversity intact, so this is something that we can teach the rest of the world. And we're hoping that with the partnership from India, we can have India playing an important part in this Biodiversity Alliance, and also work with other countries on issues of reforestation and also teaching the concept of forest management throughout countries with tropical forests.
Mr. President, the discovery of oil and gas in Guyana comes at a time when the world is debating whether to phase out fossil fuels. How do you respond to critics who question Guyana's newfound oil wealth and its adverse impact on global warming? Does it pose a moral dilemma for you?
Not at all. For matter of fact, the forest that we have kept intact has been kept intact for hundreds of years. I think what the moral dilemma is that nobody saw the value of that forest, or nobody wanted to compensate countries who are keeping the forest and contributing positively on the climate equation. You know, those who took down their forests were able to develop industries, develop manufacturing, and even extract their natural resources. We don't see a moral dilemma, because even when all our FPSOs will be operating, we still will be carbon negative. So we are still developing according to a low carbon development strategy. We are still committing to the safeguarding of the forests, but we believe that we have an opportunity now to invest and to optimize the revenue from oil and gas, so that we can build out the necessary infrastructure that would allow for economic diversification, and that allow us to build the type of infrastructure that will give our people a better quality of life, a more prosperous life, and that will contribute to regional prosperity, and indeed will contribute to regional development. Outside of that, if the world decide by 2070, only 20% or 30% of the energy must come from hydrocarbon or petroleum-related product. Then you have to decide who will produce that 20 or 30%. And it has to be who will produce it in the least climate and environmentally damaging environment. And that will put Guyana into the pole position. So we see ourselves as a long player in the hydrocarbon market, as a long player in the oil and gas market, and as a player that understands sustainability, that understands that environmental challenges and climate must be addressed. And we are addressing that, and addressing it not only for Guyana, but for the global community.
If I may ask a follow-up question, Mr. President, is it true that you are going ahead with distributing Guyana's oil wealth among your compatriots by giving them a few $100s per citizen?
Well, we're doing much more than that. You know, with that comes financial education. But we're doing much more than that. For example, now we have more than 30,000 of our citizens on scholarship.
Right.
We have just made education free, university education free. We are now going to cut the cost of electricity by half. We've removed for the last 4 years all the taxes on oil and gas import that would have saved tens of billions of dollars to the Guyanese public. We're investing in 12 new regional hospitals. We're investing in new school. We have now universal nursery primary education. We'll have university secondary education very soon. And whilst all of this is happening, the private sector is investing heavily too. We have more than 16 new hotels in construction or completed.
Mr. President, talk to us a bit, if you will, about Essequibo and your country's ties with Venezuela. Is the border tense? And does Venezuela still have troops positioned at your country's border?
No, they have troops So let me say that, first of all, it's not tense. You know, Venezuela has made a controversy of something that we know is ours. We have encouraged Venezuela to go to the CCJ, to join us at the CCJ, to participate in the CCJ. Sorry, not the CCJ, the ICJ. The CCJ is our Caribbean Court of Justice. We have encouraged Venezuela to participate in the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, and to respect the outcome of the ICJ. Because we believe in the rule of law, we believe in ensuring that we settle this controversy in a peaceful way, and we have encouraged Venezuela to do the same, and we have encouraged Venezuela to respect the outcome of the ICJ. Of course, we are fully aware of where our borders are, and we are confident that this will be settled again. It was settled in 1899. Our borders, as far as we're concerned, is completely settled in 1899. And Venezuela was part of that settlement, Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana, and they have raised the controversy just before we went on to independence, and that controversy is what is before the ICJ.
Mr. President, I'm approaching the end of the time, so may I quickly ask a few more questions, if I may. I want our viewers to get to know you better, the man behind the persona, as it were. Do you have a favorite pastime, maybe a hobby, and what do you like to do in your leisure time?
Well, I like to play cricket. That's my major hobby. Of course, we are all very connected to the IPL. We have the Global Super League commencing.
Any favorite
soon
IPL
in
team,
Guyana.
Mr. President? Or player?
Well, my IPL team is Sunrisers.
Great.
That's my favorite team. They have not delivered consistently as yet, but I have always supported the Sunrisers. Of course, we have strong cultural connections with India. So the music, the dance, and much of it you will see reflected when Prime Minister Modi is here. But I like music, all music. I like cricket, and of course, spending time with the people in the community is what I like the most.
And I have to ask you this, Mr. President, is Bollywood...
I
Yeah,
can
sure.
cook a bit.
Oh, lovely, great. Is Bollywood popular in Guyana? Do you watch Hindi films? What was the last film you watched? Any favorite film or actor or even a song?
We grew up on Bollywood movies. So up to now, Bollywood is very popular here. All your stars are very popular in Guyana. Of course, I still love we call them the black and white era. The old movies like Dosti and those movies. But if you ask most Guyanese, one of the movies that maybe every Guyanese would have watched was Kabhi Kuchi Kabhi Kam.
Right.
So that's a movie that I think every Guyanese would have looked at. But all your stars and all your the Bollywood industry has a huge presence in Guyana.
And do you speak Hindi by any chance? And would you like to
Tora.
share a message in Hindi with our viewers?
Tora.
आप कुछ और बोलना चाहेंगे?
I would not want to venture into sharing a long message with you, but at the next interview,
Great.
maybe we'll do it in Hindi.
Sure, absolutely, why not? And before we close, Mr. President, do you have a bucket list, anything that you'd like to do in the near future?
Well, one of the things I would like to see in the near future, almost immediately, is an end to all the global wars and conflict. That is what today, as we are talking, the UNICEF is celebrating 35 years of the child rights movement. And as we look in the world today, there is very little we can be proud of as leaders when you have so many children dying in all of these conflicts and wars, and so many children still going to bed hungry. So my bucket list is about a better world. It's about these conflicts ending, and it's about children having a more hopeful and prosperous future all over the world.
On that note, Mr. President, may I thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers
Thank you.
in India, Guyana, and around the world. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and God bless you.
And with that, it's a wrap on this special broadcast. But news continues here on DD India. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile, and digital platforms. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.